what I'm going to do is show you moving over to Illustrator and translating over to Illustrator. And I have a few examples and we're going to work with that. And let's just go there. Okay, so wait. All right, so I have your list over here on the left-hand side of where I'm working. And so you can raise hands and do different things, or you could even just talk to me. And I also have the chat window, and that's on my left-hand side. I don't know if you see those things or not, but I do. So I'm going to close this one up here. And okay, we'll go there. I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to need to put my air conditioner on again. All right, so this is Photoshop. I know it doesn't look any different. Maybe I should like put a big flag on it. It does say it up in the corner. So this is Photoshop, and I want to show you how to bring pictures over to Illustrator from Photoshop. Now, in a perfect world, we would be able to just copy and paste over, but Photoshop works on photo formats, and Illustrator works on print formats. So I am having you make your poster in a print format, and that is, sorry. And that format is A3 because that is a standard for printing and those things. So so let me just show you if you bring over. So even for me and maybe for some of you guys, my pictures are a mix of things shot with an SLR on a Nikon, a single lens reflex, and then also different generations of iPhones. I've now got an 11 Pro, so I think those pictures actually have more information than my SLR. So so this is becoming my camera of choice, but none of those sizes match. So let me I'll just show you quickly on this one. So if I did select all, so there's select all. So I'm going to select all of this picture that I made that's in a standard size. I actually put that sky in behind the museum, and we will see the other picture from the museum, but I did select all, which was there, or Command A. I'll do copy. So it's now copied. I will go over to Illustrator, and I will create a new file. So new file. I am going to make it. All right, first, let's just go with vertical orientation. So vertical orientation of an A3, that's the size you're going to need to make your PDF. Okay, what that means is the width is 297 millimeters across the top and 420 millimeters down the side. That's pretty big. That is basically 30 centimeters by 42 centimeters, okay? And what happens is if it's horizontal, those two numbers change. So 420 by 297. But let's just open one up, and we'll open it up vertically. So this is also, the orientation is portrait is what it's called. And I usually refer to it as vertical. So we go create, and then if I paste and I go edit, paste, or Command V, whoa, no, it's giant. So if I'm trying to get in here, if if I make the width, because remember, the original of this image is actually landscape. It is horizontal. So let's make the wider side. Okay, we'll make the wider side. Whoa, there, it left me because of the anchor spot. Let me go back a second. Okay, this little thing right here is actually fairly important. If it's anchored in the center, then the middle, this will shrink down from the middle. So, and then if you anchor other places, those will anchor. So if I go, I can do this, okay. 420. And my settings are on millimeters, so it knows what to do. I push the return key, and there you can see it doesn't fit, okay? So if I said, well, wait a minute, I need the width to be 297, and even there you can see the opposite should be 297 to 420. So this is not the same aspect ratio. So even here, if I make it, okay, even here, and I go to 297, okay, then it's just a small chunk. So if you wanted to take the picture there, that is, and you can see the 297 matches up with the edges of that A3. If you wanted to put something else in this bottom and top space, you could do that effectively, and then you could use the whole picture. I mean, it is possible that we could go to layers, and we look there, there's the layer with the picture, and bitmaps will always have these funny sort of titles on them. And actually there it is, it's inside, but I could add a layer. So I go over to these little dotted lines. I could make a new layer. I'll just say okay. Then I can go over to the rectangle over here. I'm gonna make a rectangle. I'm just gonna make it based on this artboard, based on the document size. So then, whoops, it's not very good. So if I want to get it, if I really want to get it right, the best way to do it is with math, honestly. So I could go back to properties, and what you can see is it's only 297 wide and it's only 419 high. So the 419 is pretty much there. But what I can do is it's anchored correctly on the left-hand side. So I'll take that dot, I'll anchor it, and then what I'll do right now, this lock means that the aspect ratio is locked. So that means if I change one of these numbers, it will change the other number. So I don't want to do that right now because I just want this to fit exactly there. And so if I unlock it, so it's got the diagonal line that says these are not locked, I can change the width to 297. I can hit return, and it is now essentially correct at 297. I could maybe push it back one with the arrow, and that it is essentially correct. Now, what I want to do with layers is I don't want that on top of my photo. What I want to do is bring that layer down one, so now it's underneath. Now, a starting place, if you were going to do something like this, because this will give you space to write things in and do things like that. But it is now selected. What you can see is the blue line. Okay, there's the blue line. That's the layer above, and that's where the photo is. But the red line is the layer below, and it's just the only thing in there is that rectangle. So I've clicked on it, and I can go to properties, and then I can go here and I could make it black, which doesn't look too bad. I could make it red. It's a little too much. I could try to make it this generic blue. I could make it yellow. There's a whole bunch of gross things I could do that don't make a lot of sense. I could go with dark blue. That's still not making a lot of sense. I could try any one of these versions of gray, all the way to very dark to black. That one's actually not horrible. I kind of like it. But there is another way we can do this. We can grab colors directly out of that photograph to change the color of that rectangle. So in effect, we can make these match. So I'm really liking that color actually, but I can have it selected. So if I go to layers, and we can already see that that bottom layer is selected. You don't have to have layers to know that. But what I can do is over on this side is the dropper tool, okay? The eyedropper. And what the eyedropper does is it can grab any color out of that bitmap. Whatever pixel it lands on, it grabs that color. So there aren't a lot of really obnoxious colors here. So let's just say we'll go with kind of this lighter blue. I take the eyedropper and there's the light blue. I go with something that's a little more gray. I could go up here, kind of blue-gray. So this is now directly out of that image. It is, that color pixel is in there. If I wanted it to be really close to this, oh look, that's kind of got some green in it. I could come onto this that is black and white. I could go seriously, okay, I landed on a black spot, landed on a darker gray, a little lighter gray. That's not bad. So you can grab colors right out of the photo. So we can keep this one for a little bit. There's actually some things we can do with it. Can anybody see the skull face up here besides me?
Yes.
The face in the clouds?
Yes, I can see it.
Thank you. This is my, this is not manipulated. It's actually a photo. That sky is actually from South Africa, not from here. And I put it behind the Louvre in Abu Dhabi. But, okay, so let's go back again. And we'll go back to Photoshop for a minute. And I'm going to show you the way to get these to match. If you've got a picture that you want to use the whole image and you want it to be the whole poster, which a lot of people do, okay, then let me show you the way to do that. So here's the picture. It's the whole picture. It's what we sent over there. Now, when you go to, this is the crop tool, okay? And up at the top here is what's called, it's contextual. It is a contextual menu. So it depends on this cropping tool. So if I know for a fact, okay, I will write it down. Okay, this is for you to see, the ratio in an eighth, whoops, okay. Sorry about that. That's not really what I wanted. All right, there we go. In an A3, in an A3 document is either 1.41 or 1.4121. Okay? So if I go 1.41, so there the third lines have come up, 1.41. So the longer side will be the x-axis, will be the horizontal axis. And then I put in the number 1. And we now have, it's cut off just a little bit. It is not cut off a lot. So I can now put in there 1.41 to 1 is the landscape horizontal ratio. Whoops, I keep writing ration. All right. So now I'm going to make that cut. I'm going to select all. I'm going to copy. Right, now I'm going to go back over to Illustrator. I'm going to make a new file, file new. Okay, it's going to be A3, but it's going to be landscape. So horizontal, 420 is the widest line. Okay, so now I'm going to go paste, Command V. And holy moly, that's giant. So what I want to do is I've got it clicked. I'm going to go to properties. I'm going to place this anchor into the middle. This is the larger number. So I will put in 420. Hit return. Now, anybody know what I did wrong? Well, I did not keep, the lock of the aspect ratio is off, and that is total distortion, and that's horrible. So I will do Command Z, undo. Okay. When you zoom in, you can actually see there's a person in there. I will relock the ratio, the aspect ratio. Then I'll go 420 again. I will hit return. Okay. And there it is. Okay, so now you can see that it fits exactly on that document. The thing to remember is if you decide to change aspect ratios by pushing these around, it becomes unnatural. That is, that aspect ratio is not how the building appears. Okay, if you go from the side, okay, it gets short and fat. I mean, if that's your intention, you need to say that as you beforehand, but there better be a very good reason because that dome is much larger than it is in actuality. Okay, now just because this image is horizontal does not mean we cannot find in it a cropped vertical picture. So I go back to Photoshop. I've got history here. I'm gonna go all the way back to open. So I'm back to the normal picture. And if we remember, okay, 1:1.41 is the portrait. Oh, sorry, vertical ratio. All right, so now I'm going to switch it. I'm going to switch this to 1. I'm going to switch this one to 1.41. And you can see I now have vertical. Now this is sitting right in the middle. This might be the right place, but I think, let's see, maybe I do. I want to have more of my evil face in there, okay, from the evil face cloud. It is pushed up right up to the line. Actually, if I wanted to, I could even pull it up a little smaller like that. Okay, and that aspect ratio is going, no, undo. Shoot. Okay. All right, so I'm going to have to come back over here. Okay. Now I'm going to have to go back to open. There we go. My crop is okay. There it is. I'm going to move a little this way to get the face. You can see the nose is there. Let's put the nose right on the intersection. That's probably doable like that. And now, like, the face totally dominates. You're not even really looking down below there. That's actually not awesome. I'm going to undo that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to come back. Whoops. I'll bring it over here. And I'll just do it this way. Okay. Now that's a little more comfort. We've got some room on the bottom to use. So I'm going to do select all. And then I will copy. I will go back over to Illustrator. I'm going to make another new. So File, New, A3, Portrait. Okay, height is taller, width is shorter. Create. Okay, I am going to paste, Command V. It's still giant. It has a lot of pixels in it. It's very deep. The aspect ratio is locked. So if I take the width, I've got it anchored in the center, 297. I'm going to hit return, and there it is. It is exactly A3. Okay, so those are that's the way you bring them over. And I'm going to take just a momentary break, and I'll be back in a second. All right, I am back, and I'm going to continue. Now, we are in the PDFs here. I'm going to leave these alone, but let's go back to Photoshop for a minute. I want to show you that even if you do a lot of work on an image, it may still not end up being a good choice for your poster. In fact, that one is with a different set of clouds, same picture of the museum itself. Kind of like it, but actually end up, there's one with crazy clouds. That's actually from Key West in Florida. Let me just close both of those. And this is the one we are going to be using, and I've shown you vertical and horizontal already, but I do want to open a file just so you see it. Okay. So this is, this is a Beijing tomb that I ended up doing some filters that I really liked, but I could see in it that even though the tower is on the left third and there's an open space where we could put information and do a lot of things, there really is no specific point of interest in this image. There's nothing for me to specifically focus on. And if there was a person or something, that would help. But in a lot of ways, it's these 500-year-old trees, and this one specifically, that's kind of blocking the view. And it creates sort of an interest, but it's pretty cool that it's a 500-year-old tree, but it doesn't mean the picture's useful. But I went through and I made an attempt to shape this one inside Illustrator, and I did a vertical version and a horizontal version. There we go. Okay. If I look at the vertical version, I hope you guys can see, the background is nice, but this foreground is just disturbing. And actually, it would just be too difficult to remove this, to sort of rebuild the wall and this part of the entryway and that gate and all that. So while I like it as a picture recording a moment, it's not a strong enough picture to carry an entire poster. I would give myself a poor grade on it, just to let you know. And then I also thought, well, let me look at it horizontally because it could have more strength that way. And it still doesn't. It's just not there. So even though there's some good qualities to this photograph, and a lot of photography is 99% opportunity being there, and this actually is sort of a big opportunity. Not that many people go to the Eastern Qing tombs and things like that. It's like a 3-hour drive from Beijing. So it's a bit epic. But that doesn't automatically mean the picture is good. if there was a person standing right here, or if there was a person up here, it would have more potential. But this would not be viewed favorably and would not get awesome marks because it just isn't a strong enough image to carry a poster. Now, I came across some images that I do think have some of that strength. Actually, I'm going to save these three I just made because there's some nice examples. Wait, where did they go? My untitles. Okay, so I'm going to, and actually I do like that dark gray with that image. That could be, you know, that looks like Halloween night at the Louvre, Abu Dhabi. So, you know what, I'm just going to leave it. There's no reason to save it. There's untitled. Okay, so I really opted for the original picture, which is Louvre standard, okay, and obviously zoomed in. This is the picture. This is the actual size, the actual sky. I did some color adjustments and things like that, and I looked at it, and vertically, it seems very strong. There's some interesting things I can do with it. And I did also look at it horizontally. And while there's some information cut out here, let me find landscape with Louvre standard. This picture just doesn't have the same dynamism. I love the color over here. I really wish it could be here. But I don't think ultimately I see the other shot being stronger. I see this just feels, when I add information to it, when I add things to it that could slow it down, that could operate that way. So I'm going to take the landscape version. Here, I'm going to take the landscape version out. Okay, and I also, let's see this. Okay, so this is the one I was looking at before. And I'm going to take that one out because I'm not going to work on it. All right, so I also took last year, January 2020, went to Liwa, and the first instinct for the way I took this picture in Liwa is this picture of the desert. And I have to be honest with you, I did some cloning and took out some sort of footprints and some not like perfectly smooth, awesome rolling sand. And I look at this and it's sort of like, I like it, but can it stand up and hold a poster itself? Once again, there's no actual point of focus. I think in terms of exposure and color and those things, it actually looks pretty cool. But when I go to the portrait, the vertical version, I then see more potential because in a lot of ways, by spacebar, okay, by being more vertical, okay, it creates a more dynamic, because we're drawn down here to the bottom and we see the waves and the tonal differences in the sand, and it goes up, and the top third is really the blue sky and that. So this is an image that has greater potential than the original photograph by cutting this part out of it. And because it's very large, we can do that. Okay, I just don't, this one, it would be much harder to arrange the objects, and it would not be as attractive. Once again, give myself marks down. Okay, so we've got that. And then I do have a picture that I believe is strong both ways. And So what I have is landscape. I'm gonna, whoops, gotta take that off. Because I am gonna show you how to bring that in. So actually, I'm just gonna delete it. All right, and so this is a picture of 42nd Street, New York City. And the reason I like the horizontal picture, now this isn't perfectly composed on the thirds, that line is really down the center, but the buildings, the sort of canyon of skyscrapers creates a canyon toward the sunset off in New Jersey and beyond. But what I like about this horizontal picture are these two windows right here. Because the line I came up with for these, because of these two windows, and when I put the text in, I'm gonna put it right next to these windows, okay? You don't know what you're missing. And the idea that by looking toward the dark side, you could be in this building and not even know that this stunning sunset is happening right behind you. So you could be up there working late at the office and just thinking there's no beauty in the world, and certainly not in New York, but wow, look at that. It's stunning and beautiful. Now, along with that, in fact, is if I go to the vertical editing of it, okay,
Sir,
and that is, this is going to be portrait NYC, okay. Whoops, all right, so once again, there's I Love New York, I'm gonna take that off. All right, I'm also gonna take that back up to
Sir, can I ask you a question?
297.
Why isn't he hearing?
Okay, and if I look there, that's even strong. In fact, that's my desktop. I can see it. I don't hear you. I can see it in the chat window.
Do you hear me now?
Amal?
Sir,
you can write it or say it, or
يمكن هو ما يسمعنا. Sir, can you hear us?
okay, wait. Oh, wait. Sorry, my volume is down. Okay, speak to me now, Amal.
Okay, sir, I have a question. So now you're basically just showing us if image is vertical, we can make it horizontal.
Yeah.
Okay, and what about the poster? Because I feel like you didn't talk much about what we should put in the poster.
These are meant to be the basis or not be the basis of a poster.
But
because the poster is based on a picture, and the picture is the essence of the poster.
Okay, but like if my image is already how I want it to be, it's fine, yeah? I don't have to change it, right?
No, if it's strong enough, that's fine. Sorry, I'm moving in that direction. My assumption is not everyone is where you are.
Yeah. Okay, and can I show you my my poster by the end of class? I have a thing. I just want to make sure if I can put that thing or no.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine at the end of class. Okay. So I can stop giving insight. All right. So, and then see one approach here that I did is I actually gave it a frame. So there I can give it a frame. I can do it either way. Let's go 420. Let's call it 400. And so you can create a frame. It needs to go a little farther. So 390. Okay, so that gives it a photographic feeling, etc. So let's see what I have. And then one final way is taking multiple pictures and take multiple pictures. And I took these 4 pictures and put them in here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I can show you how I organized them or not. Okay, so like, yeah, these can be aligned. There's ways to do it in Illustrator, etc. You can watch the other video from the other class and actually see how I align these. Okay, so let me just look through these. All right, there's that one, that one. All right, so what I've got for these as well is I can give you, etc. I have the logo. So one of the things you need to have is the logo. And I have the Abu Dhabi logo. And it's two pieces. You can click shift, you hold the shift key down. I can do edit, copy. I can make this available. We could go to there. So there it actually is already pasted there. I've also pasted the Louvre Abu Dhabi logo there. So those are both available to me to put into the picture. If I go to Liwa, okay, I actually have it there already as well. So this is in Abu Dhabi. The Liwa sort of logos and things don't really work. I know there's a Caribbean version of this that might be a more appropriate logo to use. So I have that there. Now with something like, okay, so here with New York, in fact, I was able to find online the I Love New York logo, which is the city's logo. Anybody that does I Heart Anything is actually stealing from the city of New York. But this one I could download. You can look for vectors. You won't find it in a lot of things. But in this case, I can copy it. I just click on it, even though it says it's an SVG, that's fine. Illustrator can read it. I can go to that. I can copy it. I can go this New York City. I just paste it. And the New York is too dark there, so I can go to layers. I go to, and I click on this top part, the New York, just the New York, not the heart. I go to properties, I can turn it white. Okay. Then to make it smaller, I'm in properties. I put the anchor on the bottom left. And then what it's going to do is shrink down into the corner. And so I will go to 30. See how that looks. Whoa. Now, see, I messed up because I didn't have the heart. I need to have the heart as well. So I need to take the whole group. Then I need to change the properties. There it is in the corner. I'll go 30. It's too.
Sir, how did you remove the background of the logo?
Okay, because this one is a vector, it's already removed.
And if we didn't find a like one without.
Okay, I'm about to do that. Okay. Okay. All right. So I could then copy that, and I could go to my other one. I can paste. No, that's not what I wanted. Sorry. Copy. Okay. All right, so for the Beijing one, there was not really a proper logo. And what I found was, and I took it into Photoshop. And so here for this Beijing picture, I want a logo, so I'm gonna have to make the logo up, essentially. There's no city logo that I know of, but once again, I went on the internet and I found something that would make me happy. And I found this picture. So this is a bitmap. And I found this image, so I had to manipulate it a little bit, but right now it's completely a bitmap. So what I'm going to do is, in fact, I'm going to take the magic wand. What? Okay. I am going, let's see what we got in terms of layers. Okay. Now, okay, I've got the magic wand. I've selected that. I've selected the white on the outside. I am going to select the inverse copy. Now I'm going to take it over to, to Illustrator. I'm going to paste it, Command V. It is, wow, okay. So it brought with it that it's transparent, but it is a bitmap. If I look at it in layers, remember what I said about a bitmap? It has this title that shows that. So that says it is a bitmap. Now that came off of a transparent background, and that's why it has no white behind it. But what you have to do is you go Window, Image Trace. I have it other place. So there's Image Trace. So let me grab this over here. And what I can do on these settings, I got on black and white. You can make adjustments when you're playing with it. But when you hit preview, what happens is it puts white behind it. So it cannot trace it without white behind it. So it has put white behind it, and that has now shown a preview. If we turn it off, okay, it's holding the shape. So let's just, I can go back to there. All right, I can look, part of the reason I chose this is that it's pretty rough. It doesn't have perfect edges or perfectly straight edges, things like that. And what happens is when we trace it, see how the edges are all smoothed out? It is going to make it a vector. So the preview looks good. If I turn preview off, I can then trace it, and it doesn't look like anything's happened, and it's gone back to preview again. Okay, so what I do to make it into a vector is I then go to Object, Expand. Okay, tracing is easiest with a limited number of colors. If you have more colors, things like that, it gets more complex and the edges are harder to deal with. But if you keep it simple like this, but when you go to Object, Expand, okay, yes, that's what it's given me. I actually have now expanded, and if I look here, that FFN-TBJ now is a group. So it is a whole bunch of groups. Okay, it is now a whole bunch of objects here. Okay, so this has been traced and it has become a vector. Now I'm dealing right now, I am dealing with the black arrow. When I click with the black arrow, it grabs the whole group. If I click with the white arrow, it's only going to grab part of the group. So what you can see is it's only grabbed this part. Now, a great part of selection, I have selected something that is white. So if I want to select everything that's white, I say select, same fill color. So I've selected the same fill color, and then I go delete. And now I can go back to the black arrow, and there it is. It is now completely a vector. And what a vector means is I can shrink it, I can twist it, manipulate it, it can get giant, it can get small, and none of those things have an adverse effect. And ultimately, edit, redo, okay? Ultimately, the only person who'll know with a logo or something it's not a photo is you. So maybe you prefer it to look another way. So in order for me to make this satisfy me as a logo, I'm also, okay, I'm going to close that. I'm going to close the Abu Dhabi logo. So, all right, that's another one I made. Let me look over here. There it is. Okay, so I did, that is a group, and I brought in this, which is actually my name. So I made this complete logo, and if I go back to Tiananmen, I'm going to delete that. I'm going to go Command 0, so I see the whole thing. I'm going to go Command V, and then obviously, if I'm going to stay with the black background, I need to change this, so I can go down to there. I can select just that part. I can make it yellow. That's very Chinese. I can make it white. And then I take this entire object, which is grouped together. Well, it's not grouped together. So I can now group it together. And I do that by going Object, Group, or Command G. And then I can shrink its size and do a whole bunch of things. Okay, I can go back to the middle. Yeah, that needs to be a lot smaller, so I can make it 50. And whoop. And I could potentially put it there. Okay, so that's a super fast way of seeing how to do a tracing. If you want to post something you have, you can post it into the chat, and I can trace it for you. Okay, the next step after you have all your image organized, and I guess some of you are beyond that, is to come up with the words you're going to use. So that's actually the writing I have next to each one of these, and I'm not going to play with the fonts and things or colors or placements. I'm going to do that in a tutorial. What happens in activity 8 is I want you to give me this information. So since it's Mao, he is watching, that's the close relevant thing. I've also included text saying that this is the forbidden city. And actually to add more information, I'll say Tiananmen, space dash space, the forbidden city. So I've got that. Then I've got my 3 hashtags, Tiananmen, forbidden city, Beijing night. I don't know what to put on this ad. And then since I have made up this logo down here, I came up with a phrase, the heart of China. So I can in fact change that to white. Drag that down, and I could work on it some more and connect it to this and actually make that into a reasonably nice logo. Okay, and so what I want you to do in activity 8 is that I am going to do a tutorial showing you more about thinking about type, thinking about fonts, thinking about all those sorts of things. If you don't have interesting fonts, I'm gonna send you some links to a couple places where you can download free fonts because you're doing it for education and things like that. So I'll give you that capacity. Ooh, that's not bad. And so we'll work from there. And okay, so for each one of these I have he is watching because it's Mao. I think I came up with another one on another one, which is yeah, I'm going to leave it. He's watching. Then if I look, if I go, the reason. Whoa. On New York was this one. And so that I've got, you don't know what you're missing. Then a description of the place is sunset on 42nd Street. I love New York. This particular logo embraces the words so you don't have to write the words. So it doesn't really have a slogan as such. So it doesn't appear, but then I've got hashtag sunset, hashtag 42nd Street, hashtag urban excursion, you know, day in the city kind of thing. And then I've got at New York City. So those aren't specific. The slogan is connected to the logo itself. I've got the same things on this one, and I'll be working with figuring out on each of these and showing you how you can use different fonts appropriate for the image, fonts appropriate for the brand, and all those other things. For I don't know, the Louvre experience the art of a Saadiyat Island sunset. So that's a Saadiyat Island sunset. Louvre Abu Dhabi, see humanity in a new light is their slogan. Abu Dhabi's slogan is your extraordinary story. Then I've got hashtag architecture, hashtag art, hashtag in Abu Dhabi, and then at Louvre Abu Dhabi. So I'll be organizing that and what you will be doing. So your first thought is you got to be sure about what you're writing here. I'm just trying to help you step by step, and clearly I won't need to do that as much in the future. You will on Sunday present your poster as far as it is finished. You will post it inside the, here, I'll just show you. You will post it inside.
I have a question.
Can you wait a second? Okay, so it'll be inside Blackboard, and it will be inside instructors' assessments, and you'll post draft poster presentation, and then we'll talk about it in class, and you will have another week to finish, and if everybody's fonts and stuff are bad, we will move in that direction. Okay, what's the question?
Sir, so when we're going to submit, it doesn't have to be perfect, right? Because
Correct, it's a draft. It is a draft.
But
Yeah.
it's graded though. You will grade
Okay.
us based on what?
Were you in the class on the first day?
Yes.
Okay. I could invite you to watch again, but the point is, what it's graded on is you presenting it. That's it. It's a low percentage, and it is marked on whether you did it or not. That grade is not grading of your creativity. It's grading that you did the draft. I'm serious about that. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so it's just, you know, if you want 1% of your grade to be 0, then don't do it. But I think if you don't do it, your final product won't be as good because you won't have the input.
Yeah.
Okay. So in the same way, I also, oh, that's that. All right, sorry. And I did the same. I wrote some other stuff. I did for Lee was Sun, Sand, Simple, bring your own water, okay? The empty quarter, it's the edge of the empty quarter. All right, then you have Abu Dhabi, which is your extraordinary story. And then I have hashtag Star Wars, hashtag Dune, hashtag in Abu Dhabi again, and then at the empty quarter. So you need to have all those things. I'm gonna do a separate tutorial and to explain to you the things about fonts and that stuff. I will put on the WhatsApp group where you can find some fonts and you can figure that out. I literally, let's see, where is it here? If I show you my fonts, Okay, it doesn't look like that many right now. But I have a lot of fonts, and I have bought fonts that I like very much. So that use professionally, whatever, and that is wrong. Excuse me. That is. Okay, I don't want extras. I want that. Okay. Okay, that's probably a little too happy, but I really like it. Okay, so I will play with some of those things for you in the tutorial, etc. I'm trying to think. We sort of sprinted here up to the end. Does anybody? You can find, I'll also give you the link to the class recordings. They're actually in YouTube. I have them in my YouTube channel. And that's where you find the tutorials as well, because Amna's asking that question. All right. Anything else? Okay, so you've got transporting it over here.
Doctor,
Yeah.
I have 3 drafts. Like, can I show you today, if it's possible?
You have what?
I have ready drafts. Can I show you today, or should I submit it?
No. I'll take a look at it in a minute if nobody else has any other kind of questions. Okay, I'm not sensing any
It's
other.
all clear, Professor.
All clear? Is that what? Okay.
Yes.
All right. I'm glad. Let me. I'm gonna stop the recording.